Mm-hmm. Okay. So then, hi, my name is Monica King. I'm in Southern Arizona, and I'm at Michael Shipman's house today to introduce some European queens to hives that we split on Monday. And the reason why we split them is because they were pretty super defensive for a area that has like close neighbors and things. And so because of that, we have to do the right thing and make sure that our bees behave properly. This one hive that we split into 5 different smaller nucleus colonies actually was requeened back in June, and they allowed the queen to live for a short period of time, and then they killed her and created their own. So this will be the second time that we're requeening this colony. And the first time we did it, we allowed them to stay really large, and we took the chance that they would accept the new queen, but they didn't. And so now we take the next step, which is to actually decrease the population so that they don't feel as though they have such a high number of guard bees, and they drop their defenses. It's sad to say, my husband hates it when I say this, but I break their spirit. And by doing so, then they're more likely to accept our European queens. So working with Africanized bees is a little different, and a lot of the old-time beekeepers might suggest euthanasia for these colonies. But what we found that we can do is by dropping their numbers and calming the hive down slightly. What happens is the old queen that we took out on Monday here, her last egg that was laid takes 21 days to emerge from her cell. And then that bee will only live around 45 days. So literally we can switch the genetics of the colony out within a 2 to 3 month period. And we will see a difference within the first month. When our new queen gets in there, lays her egg, and her bees start to emerge in 21 days, it's just like a little filtering of genetics. As they cycle out the old, the new come in, and voila, we have a really nice, gentle European colony.
Okay.
Did you get some?
Yeah. Okay. Does that mean I want to get out? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. Help me escape. No, I'm just kidding. No. These were ordered in from California. Yes, the queen bees ordered from southern states or southern areas could be Africanized. You have to just know that you have to trust the queen producer, know the quality that they put out, and like don't buy from anybody that is not been in the business for a long period of time. So these areas that create the queens in the southern areas, they have what we call a European drone saturation. So when the virgin queens go out and mate, they're likely mating with known good guys and not the bad guys. Like I tried raising queen bees out here in Arizona, and it's pretty much like a 13-mile radius around your virgin queens, and I just couldn't keep it from being Africanized. Every time I thought I had control, we would find more feral colonies, or another queen would come back from being mated, and she would throw some nasty offspring. So I just decided the thing for me to do would be to just get into doing Africanized bee removals and assist hobbyists in keeping calm hives in their backyards. Yeah, so when they're shipped, they have to be kept at a certain temperature. And so these attendant bees actually assist with keeping the queens around that 93, 94 degrees. If they don't have a bunch of bees in there, there's a possibility of the queens overheating. So all of these attendants, and there's also food in the bottom there, what we call candy, which is usually like a powdered sugar and honey mix. And then they have a sponge with water so that the attendant bees could take some of these, the food, and actually feed the queens. And you can actually see that if you get really close, you got the queens that are inside the cages, and the bees like sticking their little tongues, their little proboscises are sticking out and feeding the queens in the inside. It's very important to keep the queens healthy and nourished and not overheated. Anything that causes them to become weak might damage their spermatheca or their ability to produce in a longevity time in a time period, good quality worker bees. So it is very important to have a lot of attendance in transport. Okay, so we're going into a colony that the queen that was in there no longer had her mark and was no longer the color of the queen, because it was supposed to be a Cordovan Italian in here. And when we went in, Michael had noticed that the queen became very dark colored and no longer had her mark, which basically means it's no longer the queen he put in there. And so knowing that they could become defensive, he chose to go ahead and requeen them while they're still nice and calm. That of known genetics. And this is what we call a VSH Italian. And what they are is they're more hygienic, and that they are able to, they're better with the mites, with the Varroa mite. What Michael's doing right now is he's looking for queen cells, because we killed their queen on Monday. And we're just going to knock down any cells that they're creating on their own. Michael's knocking down queen cells. You can see all the, they look like peanuts. They're raised up and they kind of look more like a peanut shape. These are not capped yet because they're young. But when he opens it up, you can see a larva inside and royal jelly. Yes, they're creating it from the last queen's eggs that she had laid that were intended to become workers. Did you kill all of the larvae? Don't just leave any of the larvae laying in that. See? They can they can rebuild around that. They can rebuild around this. Okay, make sure and that one too. Yep. Make sure all the larvae is taken completely out, because they've been known to do that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, that was my mistake. Okay. Is that good?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, so yeah, this is drone.
Yeah. Did we get rid of that still?
Yeah, and there's a queen cell here and a queen cell here. They're trying to trick us.
We don't need the drones.
No, we don't need the drone. And actually, it's nice because when he's opening up the drone, we can be looking for Varroa mites.
Oh, they should be already treated. But...
Yeah, they should be. And then I always double check to make sure. Yep, there's one hiding right there.
Oh. Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And again, the larva is still stuck in there. Make sure the larva's dead.
Oh.
I know. Okay. And see, this right here is where the previous queen had emerged.
Oh.
So it did get, yep. So that right there is an old queen cell that you see is all chewed down like that. And there, see this one right here?
Oh, I see.
So that's how your queen got replaced. Oh. It wasn't a what we call a hostile takeover, or yeah, it was basically, yeah.
Okay, see all the nice pollen?
It's beautiful pollen. Michael's looking at all the beautiful pollen coming in on this area here. This is worker bee brood up in here, and then he's got like a nectar and honey, sealed honey up in there. Looks great.
Excellent. This greatly improved from 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
They're fairly calm. We were just a little, like I said, we're a little concerned about them having raised their own. Right. And we weren't sure if it was an usurpation swarm that had taken over, which is when an Africanized colony like uses up all their stores, or swarms, and they come and take over one of our hives. And so we weren't sure if that's what happened, or if they had just requeened themselves. And so now the evidence shows that they had requeened themselves.
Somewhere now?
Yep, keep checking though. Okay. They have put them on honey frames before.
Oh. Oh, really?
Uh-huh. Sneaky. So Mike has gone through and checked all of these frames to make sure that there was no other queen cells. And now we're introducing this queen. I'm just going to push her in here into the brood area. And then you can insert her, make sure that the cage doesn't fall down, kind of pinch it together. There you go. I have another one right here to show. So if you see, there's a little black tube inside, and that's full of that candy that the attendants also had. And so these worker bees here are going to slowly chew through this candy and get to this point where it will open up for the queen to be able to walk out. In the meantime, the queen will be starting to spread her pheromones and get fed by the worker bees through the screen top. Usually we like to make sure that they're out, but within 4 days. All right, so this colony is going to differ greatly from the last colony we were at. This one, Michael caught a swarm at his parents' house. And so what happens is, in our area, we have these feral Africanized hives, approximately 13 to 15 per square mile. That's our average. And every year, each one of those will swarm 3 to 5 times a year. Now, whether they make it or not, that's, you know, they're just taking their chances. But Michael caught one in an empty box, and that's what beekeepers in the area do. We'll put out these swarm lure boxes in order to catch the Africanized genetics so that we can do what we're doing today, and that's requeening them so that they become an actual nice usable hive for a beekeeper. And you can see they're a lot more jittery, they're a lot more airborne, and they're really small because we actually divided this colony in two. Just because of the temperament, see how much more runny they are all over the frame. You can't really see what's going on. They're not like, you can't watch them communicate with each other. They're just doing they're going crazy. And that's pretty much just one of the genetic traits of Africanized bees. We're looking for queen cells again on this one. And that one was empty. Like underneath, right there's one.
Looks like it.
Is it empty?
Practice cell.
Okay.
That might be a drone cell. Yeah.
Yep. We're looking for some open, clean cells so that we can push the queen using one of these push-in cages. We want to give her a little bit of open nectar as well, so if the bees don't feed her, she can feed herself a little something. I think we'll use this one, and we'll do it like right up in here.
Okay, because these bees might hatch out.
Exactly.
Because these already hatched out, so these will hatch
right.
out. Right?
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
one coming out here.
Right. That's what we'll do. All right.
So
Do you have a? I don't have a knife or something. I'm gonna pop this. Okay. I got to be able to grab the queen.
oh, sure. Okay.
Okay. You go ahead and push it in.
So I'll open to this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what Michael's doing is he's using a a commercial push-in cage, which I'm going to be honest, I have never seen before. I usually make my own, so this is really cool. So he just put it into a spot where there's open cells, and there's already some sealed brood, but the brood is starting to emerge. So those baby bees, they don't know who their mom is. They're okay when they emerge to greet the new European queen, and that will open up some space for her to lay. So he put her there, and the reason why I'm using this is because I'm opening the queen cage up, and if I was to lose her, she would just fly away, and there would go like $35. So I'm actually using a queen muff in case I'm taking her out of the cage she came in. And here she is.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We're going to put her into this hole where Michael had put there's no other bees in there with her. He hopes not. Okay, ready?
I don't think. I'm not doing that again.
Okay. Got that in? All right, then because the bees are a little bit on the defensive side.
There's a queen right here.
Good. He sees the queen walking around.
Okay. Do we need foil?
Yeah, I'd like to put a little piece of foil on there yet. So right now, the queen, if she was to like turn upside down and walk along these holes and the bees don't know her, they might grab hold of her legs and chew on them or sting her legs through these holes. They could also like fray her wings, even though she doesn't need to fly ever again, unless she was to go swarm. but we just want to give her some privacy, some place to get away in case she's being harassed by these Africanized bees. We're at our third colony that we're introducing queens to, and these bees are now much calmer than the last ones we were working. As you notice on the frame that Michael is looking at, they're not running around all jittery and crazy, and he's looking for queen cells again. Michael, where did you get this hive from?
This is a combination of two colonies. This is one from the pack rat.
It's the pack rat colony?
But that queen left.
Oh, okay.
So there was like a couple handful of bees left, and then I caught the other one up in the tree.
Okay.
Like a few days later, and so I combined the
okay.
two.
So a hive combination and
pack rat nest and a tree.
Yeah, a pack rat nest and a was it a swarm or a cutout?
A cutout.
So it was an open air hive in a tree, which is something people don't normally see because European colonies don't usually do open air hives, and it's kind of shocking for a lot of beekeepers to see that, but it's pretty common here in southern Arizona to actually just have what looks like a swarm, but they have lived there for 3-4 weeks. I did one that was there for over a year, and they just create a bunch of comb and just live in the elements with no problem. Yeah, look at all his cells that he's cutting down. Was it a swarm or a cutout?
A cutout.
So it was an open air hive in a tree, which is something people don't normally see because European colonies don't usually do open air hives, and it's kind of shocking for a lot of beekeepers to see that, but it's pretty common here in southern Arizona to actually just have what looks like a swarm, but they have lived there for 3-4 weeks. I did one that was there for over a year, and they just create a bunch of comb and just live in the elements with no problem. Wow. Yeah, look at all his cells that he's cutting down. He's cutting down the cells again because we don't want them to have a queen. With Africanized bees, what we know is that if they have the possibility to raise their own, they're going to do it. They're just not going to accept our European. So we try to make it where they have no other option. There's no other resource for a queen for them unless they take our girl that we're giving them. Okay. We'll watch their reaction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. See what I did? I only saw like one. I did with a lot of queen cell, but I only saw one that actually has larvae in.
Okay.
So they don't seem mean.
No, they seem to be okay with her. Like if they were on the cage and trying to sting it, then we might think about the pushing cage. They're attracted to her pheromone. As you can tell, they don't have a queen. So just by sitting that cage on the top, now they're all interested in this new queen. And they're not acting defensive towards her. So I think that this one should be okay to just have the cage put in like this.
Interesting. Which one did you say was this?
Yeah.
With this one?
Yeah.
That one? Who was it?
It's good.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have honey right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, looks good. It pushes it in so that it's hanging on the top so that the bees will go in and be able to chew out that honey's not dripping too bad, is it? Yeah, don't put it in too far, otherwise she'll get stuck.
Yeah.
Or you can just hang it between the top bars too.
Oh.
Yeah, just pinch it between the top bars so it hangs.
You mean like?
Mm-hmm, like that.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, and so then when you put it to the other one, you pinch the two frames together and it holds.
Oh, I see you mean.
Exactly. Go ahead. All right, so that's number 3. 5 more to go.